Hello and welcome back to another Warcraft video. This time we're going to be talking about the movie, and more specifically, Legendary have released some casting information for us today. So let's get into let's just get straight into the news. First of all, Ben Foster, Toby Kebbell, I think that's how you pronounce his name, and Rob Kazinski have got lead roles in the movie, and they are also in negotiations with Dominic Cooper. This comes on top of us already knowing that Travis Fimmel and Paula Patton are going to be on board with the movie. So, yeah, overall, from what I can gather, a lot of these actors are very much on the up, but personally I have not seen much of their work, so I can't really attest to it. The first big thing that I noticed, though, is that there is not a lot of star power. Okay, if you're a moviegoer, you're always going to the movies and seeing what the latest stuff is, then you'll know some of these names, but is there really a giant name to grab the mainstream audience? No. And I think that it's really just kind of odd that with a movie that has a budget of over 200 million, they cannot attract a big name. There was talk of Colin Farrell, but it would appear that he has declined. If you look at these three guys that are supposedly in lead roles, is it kind of like the burly white guy quota has been filled in a way? We know who the main hero sort of people are. We know what they are going to roughly look like in terms of demographic wise. So, like Khadgar and Lothar, they're going to, like, these guys all sort of fit, I suppose. So yeah, probably not going to be a Colin Farrell deal, which is a pity because I just love watching him. I think he's really good. So yeah, let's just jump into some of these actors in specific. First of all, we have Ben Foster. Now, he was in quite a few bad movies up until 2007. But post that, the majority of his work has actually been well regarded, with on Rotten Tomatoes 3 out of 13 of them being rotten, but 10 being fresh, with a lot of ratings in the 70s and 80s. On top of that, I've heard a lot of great stuff about his work, and apparently he did a very good job in 3:10 to Yuma, where I've actually seen multiple people saying that he outperformed some of the other really big ticket actors in that movie. So, yeah, and I've also seen a lot of people talking about he's just one of those actors who is waiting for his really large breakthrough that sort of bursts him into the mainstream. Personally, I can't confirm this, but essentially it seems like he's a guy who has a lot of potential, and with a great director like Duncan Jones, I'd say that a lot of good work could be done with him. Next up, we have Travis Fimmel. Now, he hasn't done a giant amount, this guy. He was in one movie recently, but it really wasn't very good. The main thing that he's known for is Vikings. Now, despite being a History Channel show, they're not really, History probably not known for this, but it's, from what I can gather anyway, I've seen about one episode, it's kind of a little bit of a HBO-styled kind of show about Vikings, as you may expect. And ratings-wise, the show is hovering around 80%, it's doing quite well. This is really quite brilliant for the first series of something, so yeah, I think this guy has definitely got a lot of potential. From what I've seen in Vikings, it's very good, and someday I just plan on sitting down and watching the whole first season. The only problem is I just cannot find the time. So that's Travis Fimmel. Let's move on to Paula Patton. Well, first of all, she's married to Robin Thicke, so she clearly has no taste, but let's go a little bit more objective. Rating-wise, she is a mixed bag, though, in Mission Impossible. Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol was quite decent, I hear, and apparently she was pretty good in that. I haven't seen the movie, I can't say, and honestly I have no idea about her acting ability, so I'm going to reserve judgment. Anyone else, maybe leave in the comments what Paula Patton is generally considered to be like. I just don't know. The next person is Toby Kebbell. Lots of mediocre and kinda good stuff in his past, but I think the things you'll know him the most from are Warhorse, which was apparently very good, and Wrath of the Titans, which, it's the kind of thing ratings will always butcher. It's a popcorn movie, and I think Wrath it's like the second one of those movies, and I think from what I hear it was actually pretty decent from the just being a popcorn spectacle fight kind of movie. So yeah, I suppose this guy has got some decent amount of potential in him for the movie. Next we have Rob Kazinski. He was in Pacific Rim. He played, there was this, like, older British guy, he played his son, and one of the, like, the mech driver people, and, like, his character, I don't really think he was able to, portray a lot of depth. I don't really think anyone in Pacific Rim was able to portray a lot of depth in their character, because, like, let's just face it, Pacific Rim, the main thing you cared about were the Jaeger mechs, and, like, Pacific Rim was one of my favourite movies of this year. I just love that thing to death. It was brilliant. He was also in The Hobbit, in which he played Fili, and he was in True Blood. True Blood's interesting. Honestly, from what I can, like, tell, it seems to be mainly just be watched by girls who are into the whole vampire thing, and it's quite attractive cast. I think that's the main reason, because anytime I've seen the show or anything like that, it has just looked like a kind of boring piece of shit. So, yeah, I'm not too sure. That said, like, just looking at him, if I was to quickly profile him based on his performance in Pacific Rim, I'd say he does have potential, and also based on The Hobbit, which is a movie I really enjoyed. I think, yeah, this guy does have potential, and he can definitely be sort of worked well with. Next up, we have Dominic Cooper, and they're in final negotiations with him, but things you might know him from, he was in Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter, where, okay, maybe not the best movie, apparently he was pretty decent in it. He also played Tony Stark's dad in the Captain America movies, and he's been in a few things as well. On the whole, I feel like, yeah, this guy could actually do a great job, just he needs to be directed well. So what do I think about this cast? First of all, the big thing is no star power, no big ticket star power. That's going to be a problem for a lot of audiences. Well, not just audiences, I mean just getting people sort of through the gate. Now, it is releasing in March 2016 in March. Like, that generally isn't a ginormous month for movies, so I'd say, yeah, maybe there'll be, maybe there won't be much else on. But I think, yeah, okay, so the cast is not going to do a great job of getting people in the door. But what I do think could happen is there could be a lot of fantastic breakout performances. And I've seen both of Duncan Jones' previous movies, and he's done a great job with the actors he had, in my opinion. And just a lot of these guys, from what I hear, is they haven't had their big movie yet, which really boosted them up into the so famous kind of tier of actors. So I think there's definitely a lot of potential talent in there, and I think it can be directed into a really nice film. I would just be worried that the lack of star power would cause some problems. And I know I've been sort of harping on about star power. Personally, it's not something that I care about in terms of me watching a movie. I, in some cases, nearly prefer not really knowing who the actors are, so that I just see the character. I think a great example of this was actually Gravity, and hold on a second. I've basically seen nothing of Sandra Bullock or George Clooney in movies, so when I went into that, I only really saw them as the characters they played, and it worked really well. But the thing about Gravity is, it had two very big names in those two actors. And I think that would have got a lot of people through the door with the movie. I think it's definitely performed very well. Other films, I know Pacific Rim apparently did very bad in America because it did not have giant names in it, apparently. Although it did do quite well in Europe and the UK and some other places. Yeah, I mean, it's just interesting, the whole movie talk. I think, ultimately, for me, what matters the most is the quality of the movie. But if we were to look at a pure business standpoint, perhaps this won't, perhaps maybe they might miss out on a little bit of potential. That said, based on the way movies have been these days, I'm sure they can grab about 10 minutes of Morgan Freeman's time, and he can just show up, say something really wise, and they can put him on the poster, and everyone will go and see it. But yeah, overall, I'm very hopeful for the movie. I think this cast has got a bunch of people that can be well utilised by Duncan Jones, and overall, what matters the most is the quality of the movie. So, all good. Anyway, if you have any thoughts about the casting or the movie in general, please leave them in the comments. Let's have a bit of a chat. I am not the biggest moviegoer on the planet, so perhaps if some of you are, maybe I know it'd help me out to hear from you guys. Just sort of broaden my horizons a little bit when it comes to this sort of thing. Anyway, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.